Hello, everyone, and welcome to show 76 of Get Out of Rap TV. It is great to see you. Now, before I get on with the usual show, please can you just indulge me just for a second? Um, like I imagine all of you, you've watched in horror with what's been happening on our streets and cities and towns across the UK, and maybe feel a bit powerless, or I don't know about you, but I've gone through a whole range of emotions: concern, anger, um, just horror, and it's powerless is one of the things that I felt. I was in a family WhatsApp group, saw my auntie shared this petition. It is a small thing, but maybe it will share a more positive message to. I imagine that I saw a TikTok from Asim C. You may know him from Chabuddy, from uh, People Just Do Nothing. He actually started in a contact center, believe it or not. All of those guys did. He shared how this has made him and his family a bit fearful, and it's reminding them of the horrible racism that they grew up with. And I think it's time for decent, good people, which is 99% of this country, to share their name to something that says this is not being done in our name. So I don't know if you can see, it's 38 degrees .org.uk /ACT /racist riot dash petition. Um, if you have anything else like this that you want to share, please do. So I just felt compelled to do that this morning. It's not not the usual way to start the show, but let me just leave that on the screen for a bit. If you'd like, I posted about it this morning on LinkedIn, so you can see that link. But let's lend our names, if you feel inclined to something that says, no, this is not who we are as a country. Anyway, on with the show. It's great to see you. Darren is here. Morning, Darren. Good morning. Uh, Orok is here. Wow. Orok, I believe, aren't you in Cameroon? So good morning. And Orok is saying good morning to the GOW community. And Eddie is here. Eddie, who I used to work with a while ago. We had some fun. Let me just remind you, if your comments are not showing, I'm not ignoring you. Please do just refresh LinkedIn and it should come back. I can't always see everybody's comments, much to my annoyance. Um, Now then, let me just catch up with some comments. Danny Wareham, good morning, Danny, says Australia are the latest to issue travel advice against coming to the UK. Exercise a high degree of caution in the UK due to the threat of terrorism. Yeah, it's appalling, isn't it? Absolutely appalling. Um, as many of you know, I've shared before, I worked in Istanbul for 2.5 years, a Muslim country, and not once did I was I ever treated with anything but love and respect. And these mindless idiots have taken an awful, awful tragedy and used it as an excuse to damage and loot and commit violence and be horribly Islamophobic, which isn't what this country is about. Darren, good morning, sir. Darren Gracie just signed. Thank you, mate. Um, Nick is here. Good morning, Nick. Nick Boone. Peter. Good morning, Peter. Talking of Australia. Although you're not Australian, I know. I just like saying your name that way. And Eddie Barber. Yeah, it was fun working together. Now, let's start getting to know each other a bit better. Something a bit more positive than what is happening is the Olympics. I don't know about you. I am absolutely loving them. So why not say hello in the comments? Many of you already have. Thank you for that. And I should have just distinguished Darren Crook there as well and Darren Gracie, two Darrens. Um, Say hello in the comments. And what Olympic sport have you enjoyed watching? I must admit, I've had it on either in the background or then when work and life finishes and you're sat in the evening. It's been great. I don't think you'd ever normally say, "Oh, it's the equestrian," or "Oh, brilliant, there's skateboarding on," or "There's three." I watched 3x3 basketball, women's basketball last night. It was brilliant, and of course, the athletics has started. But what Olympic sport have you enjoyed watching? And maybe it's one that's taken you by surprise that you haven't watched before. Darren is kicking us off. Darren says gymnastics. I agree. It's been brilliant. Um, Eddie Barber, I will watch Sky Brown. What event is Sky Brown in, Eddie? Uh, Danny Wareham says frustrated with the Olympics, cannot get anything for the basketball, and the iPlayer forces you to manually fast forward 4 hour shows with no thumbnails to see if there are any highlights. Oh, I didn't know that. Maybe just do what I do, Danny, and just leave it on all the time. Rachel Schaefer is here. All of it, all of them. Yes, I agree. I've loved watching all of the different sports, but predominantly gymnastics, says Rachel. Nick Boone agrees with you, Rachel, and says all of it, especially last night's pole vault. Yeah, that was great, wasn't it? The Swedish guy breaking his own world record was pretty special. Yes, skateboarding. Sky Brown. Is that this 16-year-old, Eddie? I love how the fact we've got a 16-year-old girl and a 51-year-old man. It makes me feel like there's hope. Darren Crook says tennis, as I play tennis, gymnastics and skateboarding, BMX, but there's so many. It's awesome. Rachel says time trial and road cycling, fascinating. Yeah, I agree. The longer disciplines I really like. I watched the team triathlon, and after that huge distance, they still got a photo finish. It was brilliant. Pete Dunn agrees with you, Danny. Coverage has been pretty poor at times, or rather, BBC decisions on what's getting televised. Wow, yeah, the 100 meters, that'll go down in history, won't it, Pete? Never has it been that close. So skateboarding is on at 4:30 today, says Eddie. If I'm having meetings with anyone during these sort of times and you see me slightly distracted, it's maybe because we've got a medal chance. But I've loved some of the other stories as well. The lady that won the 100 meters, the first medal for a Caribbean island. I can't remember which one now, but that was amazing seeing the scenes there. It is brilliant. Long may it continue. I'm not. Is it on for another week? Is no. It, is it finishing this weekend or Monday? Be a shame. What will we do then? what will we do then? What has been though the sport that surprised you that you really got into, or is it some of these here that you haven't watched before? I've watched clay pigeon shooting. The Olympics almost peaked with the French winning the sevens gold before the opening ceremony even happened. Yeah, their dance has been great as well, Pete, hasn't it? The French men's rugby team, their coordinated dance. Uh, it I imagine it's great to be there as well. I know a few people that have gone over. Speed rock climbing, says Eddie. Now that is a cracker. I can't believe squash still isn't in the Olympics when we have so many other sports. Hopefully, it will be in the LA Games in 4 years' time. But isn't it amazing? There was a British 800-meter runner yesterday. I've forgotten her name, but she's going back to finish her A levels. So if she stays in the sport, look out for her in LA 28. But yeah, absolutely loving the Olympics. Please do keep these comments coming. Bit of a different question for you today now. Naturally, we always focus on contact centers, but I just wanted to pick your brains on what type of content do you enjoy on LinkedIn and what would you like to see more of? But after I wrote this, I thought maybe this should be start, stop, continue. Yeah. Hold on, let's just go back. Danny Wareham. You can't mention the Olympics without mentioning Snoop Dogg. He's been brilliant. I saw him dressed up in 3-day eventing costume the other day. He's getting around. He's going to be one of the story of the games, isn't he? Eddie Barber. That maybe there'll be lightsaber. Yeah, that don't discount it, Eddie. Who knows? But yeah, so our talking point for today: what type of content do you enjoy on LinkedIn? And what would you like to see more of? Equally, you can also answer what would you like to see less of? So like stop, start, continue. We're going off on a beautiful tangent here. Pete Dunn says Danny Wareham and Flavor Flav. It's the flavor. Now that is my era. Public Enemy. I love that. Flavor Flav. Danny Wareham says faux shizzle. We're down with the kids. Yes, we are. This is like a televised midlife crisis for us all. Yes, his comments are showing. Hey up. Now, talking of Olympics, here is an Olympian, Dan Cohen from Nespresso. Dan, you must have a view on this. What type of content do you enjoy on LinkedIn, and what would you like to see more of? Eddie is kicking us off with personal experience and honesty. Love that. Love that. Danny Wareham says more thought pieces, objective, fast-based, fact-based info and reports. Yes, that would be nice. That would be nice. So thought pieces, objective, fact-based info and reports. Still on the Olympics, why does Snoop always carry an umbrella? Faux drizzle. Good one, Pete. He's here all week. Eddie Barber says, "Fight the power." Yes, mate. Fight the powers that be. We should have a soundtrack for GOW TV. Now, when it comes to LinkedIn, Pete Dunn says less AI nonsense. Oh, Dan Cohen, stop it. Dan says more of you, mate. I also know that there's quite a fair few people that would like to see the exact opposite. Danny, good. I like how you're doing this, Danny Wareham. Less. Linking every real world success to LI. This is brilliant. This is what I learned about lead generation from Simone Biles' floor routine. Yeah, there is a lot of that, isn't there? I'm not going to mock too much because I'm sure I've done it. I'm sure I've done it myself. What else do we like? What would we like to see more of, less of? When you are scrolling, what makes you stop? There's plenty of advice on, I guess, not just for LinkedIn, but how do you attract people's attention in that first sentence? Pete Dunn says there's so many people churning out low quality drivel. Here's how my proposal to my girlfriend taught me about 10xing and bootstrapping a unicorn. Yeah. Oh dear. Ian Sutherland, hello, mate. Maybe a Dear Gal agony aunt section. People message you an issue, you put it out there, and people come back with their suggested solutions. That's really good. I love that, Ian. Can I be agony uncle? So people message an issue, I put it out there, and people come back with their solutions. That's really good. I love that. Thank you, mate. Darren Gracie says less hypothetical and more real world examples of solutions which have been implemented and the results. That's very insightful. I think we could help each other a lot more. And when it comes to solutions, I know my partners, without which I couldn't do anything, so I have to thank them. Value Agent, DDC Outsourcing Solutions, OneCom, and Better. We are better.com. Those guys have all said to me separately that's the kind of thing that they would like to do and see more of, which is people who've taken their solutions, whether that is technology, software, or activity and services, put it into play and how has it been implemented, kind of warts and all, so that we can all learn from each other and we can learn from people's experiences, and everybody can be better as a result. Um, so, Darren, that's a great one. Danny Wareham says, message and issue. People make suggestions. This is literally the TLC team leader community, which you guys know I run, and Danny is a key member of, as is Peter and Darren Crook. Um, Thank you, Danny. That's lovely. A little segue there. If any of you would like to join the team leader community, it's not just team leaders. Please do just let me know. That way you can put it out anonymous to keep it all work safe. That's very true, Ian. Going back to the agony aunt concept. I love it. Eddie Barber says, I like the real world experience solutions. Yes, very true. It makes things just a bit more tangible, doesn't it? Pete Dan says, we need more focus on human centric issues and solutions. Yet another year where we see declining CX and EX scores from Forrester, ICS, etc., and more money spent on tech. Start investing in your people. Yes, what a good rallying cry that is, Peter. I feel like we have to do something, don't we, with these declining CX and EX scores. And that Forrester report out recently, wasn't it, Pete? Very, very interesting, yet also concerning, I guess, that we are seeing scores drop still. And I think, hello, Mark, great to see you. Mark Ibbotson 100% agrees. And I'm assuming, if these are running in order, that is with Peter's comment that we need to start investing in people. And as Eddie says, people are always the sharp end. There have been so many interesting developments and advances to not only understanding people, but also how we can better support them. I wonder if we'll start seeing that those CX and EX scores start to increase as a deployment of technology that's based on helping people within the industry deliver a better service, so they're more engaged. So they deliver a better service. I wonder if we'll start seeing an upturn in some of these CX and EX scores that are reported, and they're being reported and they're constantly dropping or staying low. I wonder if we'll ever see them go up. Now, Ian says to Pete Dunn have spent years trying to persuade contact center HR staff to even take a free trial of call handling assessments for use during recruitment. But they all seem to think they know better, and how they do it is the best way. Bit closed mind thinking there, Ian, isn't it? That people aren't open to different solutions. Now, it's one of Danny's Wareham's, one of my favorite phrases that he has, hashtag happy bees make tasty honey. And if there's anyone you want to check out to see how you can improve your culture within a contact center, I would thoroughly recommend Danny. He knows his stuff and he's done it himself as well. So it seems like we'd like to see more personal experiences. We'd certainly like to see more real life examples of technology being implemented, or projects or improvement strategies, and how they've gone, and maybe people sharing a bit more of a story around what it's been like for them and what they've gained and what they have struggled with, so that we can all do things a little bit better. I've always thought it's a real bonus for our industry that on the main, we are collaboratively competitive. I've been in many groups of competitors who come together for different events, special interest groups, that kind of thing. And whilst they might not share completely, they share the vast majority of what they're up to. They certainly share their challenges, and I think we would like to see that displayed a bit more on LinkedIn. Pete Dunn replies to Ian Sutherland, happy for HR people to tell me I'm wrong, but I don't think they're best placed to make these decisions. HR primarily exists to manage risk of people for the business, not to recruit the best people for operational delivery. It's a good point, Pete. I have in the past um, worked hand in hand with HR, and when that happens, and when they truly listen to some of the things you're looking for, and they work with you on how we might get people that we know have a fairer chance than not of working out. It's worked really well, but too often it's this kind of silo, isn't it? Um, Danny says my LinkedIn reach has plummeted, and I can't help but think it's because I don't have a dog. You're welcome to borrow mine, Danny. Please. I jest. Or do I? But to be honest, I think that's across the board. Uh, Peter certainly knows more about the LinkedIn algorithms than me, but isn't it normally a sign that they're making a change? Because I think I've certainly seen a drop that could equally be my eclectic content, but I've also seen other people post that they too have seen a drop in impressions, engagement. For me, I would like them to act quicker on the ads that come up every 3 or 4 posts that are the same, but they're disguised as it looks like these people in your network. Um, there's what last week there's one guy in particular wearing a pink shirt. I couldn't tell you what it was about. I think it was wealth generation. I'm a million miles away from that. And it just became frustrating that it was constantly there. Um, some of these ads that seem to just completely go on and on and on. Um, Only reasonable response is to get a dog or more than one. What exactly? Uh, there's a move from HR towards people and culture functions, says Danny Wareham, a bit like the move from personnel to HR that happened in the late 80s. And do you see that as uh, just a name change, or is it more reflective of a wider, more progressive remit, Danny? Is it just changing the sign on the door, or does it demonstrate a change, a real change? Um, Pete Dunn says, I'm totally biased, but I think a QA training team can determine what good looks like for onboarding the right people to deliver or be developed to deliver fantastic CX. That is a great point. That is a great point. Um, Darren Crook says, yeah, definitely don't get as much reach engagement as I used to. I do think this is prevalent across the board. I'm not sure why. That Pete Dunn can recommend people who absolutely know all the algorithms. They're very helpful. I think you can end up chasing your own tail a little bit. I don't, as you can probably tell, I don't often think too much before posting. It's not part of a wider strategy. Danny Wareham says, I actually think it might be partly because I stopped my premium. Was unusual to have fewer than 3,000 impressions. Now it's unusual to have over 200. I would agree with that. And I think profile views is also dropped, impressions dropped. If you look at your analytics, which I occasionally do, mine has definitely dropped. A long time ago, though, I don't know why, but I turned off notifications. It means I'm not always great at replying back to comments, but I just wanted I post selfishly, I guess. I just post creatively and feeling the need to share. But I've definitely seen a drop in impressions. Rachel Schaefer says, in regards to your previous screen, would like to see case studies. Oh, that's nice. Stories by business owners, employees, CFO, biz development, channel partners, managers, consultants, whomever. I think that's a really nice prompt, actually, Rachel, to see case studies and stories. And again, we it seems like we're looking for a sharing of a experience, aren't we? Ian says, I would agree, but often a demarcation type issue stops them being allowed to manage it. And this is a question of onboarding and help and getting the right people. People and culture is completely different approach. HR creates combative situations. P&C is more proactive and looks to mitigate and flex for the whole person, not just employee time. That's lovely. To reduce the likelihood of grievances, etc. Thanks, Danny. I like that. Um, Premium and the higher end packages get better reach. The algorithm changes are happening far more frequently, which is frustrating. Company pages have almost no reach when compared to personal, unless you pay for the campaigns. I've never done that. Let me just finish Rachel's comment. She wants to see case studies and stories, showcasing that they really implemented CX, CE, wellbeing software, helping other readers and inspire change, holding themselves accountable. Wouldn't that be good if not just for advertisement and marketing, but people said, we implemented this, these have been the upside, these are some of the things you should think about if you were going to implement it. Richard van der Blom, says Pete Dunn, is a great person to follow for LinkedIn updates. I knew you would come good. Thank you, buddy. Oh, Spencer's here. Good to see you, Spencer. And actually, that reminds me, the latest. It's not an episode. I guess it's a new series. But Spencer makes a star appearance on the Break Room, which you can now listen to on Get Out a Rap. And Spencer says, from Def Spencer, I'd bet you catch Mr. Beast popping up on LinkedIn, raking in the cash like there's no tomorrow. I know Gary V. Vaynerchuk believes LinkedIn is where he'll, like people from YouTube will start coming over onto LinkedIn. Mark Ibbotson makes a really interesting point here. Trying to sell on LinkedIn is frowned upon recently. For example, I posted an industry-specific article, barely any engagement. Pictures of what type of sandwich I had on any day, engagement through the roof. It is frustrating, Mark, isn't it? Certainly, LinkedIn is the only channel I use for selling. Without that, I would be scuppered more so than I already am. Now, we're getting to a point where I know some of you love a VT and have been asking me, why haven't we had more VTs? You may remember some time ago, I asked you for how you would like this show to evolve. And I can say, just to launch a new concept, I have a new VT. Are you ready? Set faces to stun. Now then, one of the things that you asked for was to maybe have more people on the show. So I'm looking for 3 volunteers. So there'll be 4 of us in total to join me next week on the very first GOW panel. And I thought it'd be nice to talk about performance management and what we think about that, whether it has negative connotations and why, how it's done well, some of the things that you should avoid, best practice. If you are interested, please can you email me? Let me just put my email address here in the banner. I should have done that before, but it's a live show, so these things happen. Here we go. I'm looking for 3 volunteers to join me in the studio next week for the first GOW panel. And if you email me at martin@getoutofrap.com, if you are interested. Let me just go back. Eddie says 60s TV music. I love it. Love it. Yes, that would be next Tuesday, Danny. I'm planning on doing a panel at least once a month, different topics. And if you have any ideas, please, for topics that you would like to see people talk about. And this is your opportunity. You do not have to have a long list of credentials, or you should know by now this show is very relaxed. But if you would like to come on to a panel, which will be me and three of you, ideally, we will just talk about performance management. We can do a bit of prep. Um, Spencer says, from Def Spencer, this is Spencer Collins. Sign me up as a lightning fast flash, zipping around to make sure we're all on the same communication wavelength. And Spencer, you absolutely do that. Darren Crook on holiday next week, so can't, but would love to join another one in the future. I will pencil you in, Darren, and have a lovely, lovely holiday. I'm assuming even though you're on holiday, you'll still catch this, right? You'll catch this, if not live, then on catch up. Okay, great. Our first volunteer has stepped forward. Danny Wareham, consider yourself in. Please do. And the reason I've said email is to catch anyone that is not watching this live. But if you would like to come on, we'll have four of us ideally on the screen, and we'll be talking about performance management, and maybe much like you've all said in some of the previous comments, that we can share experiences and we can talk about what we've seen work well when it comes to performance management, what some of the things are for people to be mindful of. Pete Dunn says, I'm sure I could be persuaded to offer a few words. And Rachel Schaefer says, I can do it remotely. So that's great. If the three of you could just email me, so I've got your email addresses. I know Danny and Pete, I've definitely got yours. I think Rachel, it'd be great if you could email me at martin@getoutofrap.com, and we will get organizing. And yes, of course, the beauty of this show is it's all remote, right? You will just be added onto the screen here. I have got some slides for the read along, but I'm going to save them for next week and maybe just end with, well, not end, but maybe just end with this.
I can't believe that you came into my life. You made me feel again. Now it's my.
That isn't 60s, Eddie, is it? That is very much poptastic. Dan Light is here. Hi, Dan. Performance management, the metal club covered in styrofoam. Love to contribute. Brilliant. Please do. Let me just add that banner back on. And if you could email me, Dan, martin@getoutofrap.com. You just need to say hello. You don't need to write anything. And I will email all of you that are interested, and we will get planning. Yeah, Eddie, that one was glow sticks, and really it is just to spend a few minutes just seeing if anyone has any questions for either me or for anyone that's watching. We've got some very, very special people. You're all special, and I don't mean that sarcastically, but here we go. Spencer is kicking us off from Def Spencer. I know it's got nothing to do with today's talk, but if you could be a superhero, which one would you choose to be and why? That's a great question. I'm going to throw that out to everyone else as well. That's a tricky one. I think growing up, I like the Spider-Man cartoons, so maybe I'd go with Spider-Man. Spencer, what about you? Who would you be? Spencer's kicking us off. Which superhero would you be? Why not? Let's go with this one. And Rachel has emailed. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Dan, yeah, if you could do the same. Danny and Pete have already got yours. Oh, yeah, Eddie's come up with a good one. Silver Surfer. That was a great cartoon as well. Surfing around the planets, looking super cool. Grammar man. I am the writer of wrongs. You'll have a field day with me then, Danny. Uh, a lot of my early school reports said it looked like I did punctuation with a machine gun or not at all, and it hasn't really improved. Um, Mark Ibbotson says LinkedIn marketing is a lot like fishing with the wrong bait. Content nowadays, put it out there and play the long game, hoping for a bite. Very true. Superhero wise, Wolverine. Oh yeah, new film as well coming out. Or is it out already? But yeah, good call. Oh, these are great puns, Danny. Aluminum Man. I foil crime. You, Spencer, and Pete can have a pun off. I think it will be a tightly fought competition, much like the Olympics. You're certainly in gold medal position, Danny. I would say. With now, Spencer Collins says, "Flash. I'm the Speedy Gonzales of getting things done. Lightning fast with tasks, just like I'd be with your performance management." Wink. Not my performance management, Spencer. I don't need anyone telling me about my performance. Lewis Murphy, hello, mate. I wouldn't mind being a pound behind Tony Stark. So Iron Man it is. Yeah, Iron Man's a cool one. I'm loving. I do love how this show just goes off into the bizarre. It's kind of it's where we operate, isn't it? I started off with serious stuff, and now we're ending with which superhero would you like to be? And I can't think of a better example of everything that GOW TV is. I love it. And I know, Spencer, this superhero thing has carried on from the break room that we did last Tuesday. It's definitely a theme because, and you are genuinely a superhero. For anyone that wants to find out more about being truly inclusive in contact centers, and of course specifically around what it's like to be deaf or hard of hearing when it comes to interacting with our world, I recommend just connecting with Spencer and having a chat with him. Performance management of a superhero. That's a good one, Eddie. How would you do that? It's a challenge. Yeah. We need to talk about your lasers. I do like The Boys. If anyone's seen The Boys on Amazon Prime, it's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. And it's certainly not suitable for work or this show. But that's a kind of dark take on superheroes, but a very entertaining series nonetheless. Okay, so we're reaching that time. Again, thank you all for your contributions today. Again, thanks to my partners who let me do this, and we do get involved in serious content together, but without them I couldn't do this show. I'm always on the lookout for more partners, so if any of you guys know anyone out there, please do point them in my direction. It would be appreciated. Chocolate cake, that is all. Is that your next post, Mark, on LinkedIn? Just put a chocolate cake up there. We'll all know what you mean. But I hope you've enjoyed the show today. I do hope I can see you next week. We'll do the panel. For those of you that have noted here that you are interested, thank you very much. I will accept, of course, other people showing that they are interested, even if not this week, then next. And I would love your suggestions on what we can talk about. I hope you can join me next Tuesday on the next show. Let me just, Darren, I want to catch favorite superhero, Spider-Man. I would want Superman's powers and Batman or Tony Stark's money. Boys reference, chocolate cake. Oh, no, don't. Yeah, that's probably the only one that's suitable for work. But I'm glad you're also a fan, Mark. Okay. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And thank you all for watching and contributing. It's always good fun. And I appreciate all of you. And see you all next Tuesday.